What's up, guys? It's your boy back here again with a quick video. I just wanted to run through this very quickly. So, from SBS 110, we have a question for Oda. In chapter 1103, Luffy is so hungry he can't move, but in chapter 1106, he is full. Who gave Luffy food? In chapter 1103, he suddenly starts eating. Who on earth responded to Luffy's pleas for meat? Was it Sanji or Frankie who were nearby? Kizaru and Sentomaru were there too. Seems like nobody found out. In other words, their actions went unnoticed. Like it was done at the speed of light. I don't know either. Speed of light. Right? So, Luffy, if you go back to the chapters, this is something that happens off camera. Right? Because we don't know. Luffy just starts eating. Right? We just see the part, Saturn looks at Luffy, hey, who gave him food? Put the sea prism stone cuffs on him at once. Something I thought about was that how would Kizaru, and this is actually a plot hole, unless Luffy says it himself, there's really no way to determine if this is true or not. How does Kizaru know that Luffy needs food right there in order to recharge? Ask yourself that question. How would Kizaru know that? He's not met Luffy. There's no description of Luffy saying, oh, if he eats food, he gets full power back. Right? But Saturn, it seems like Saturn is aware. He's like, oh, who gave him food? You know, put him in sea prism cuffs right away, right? So maybe he's aware of it, but how do we know Kizaru's aware of it? Right? So that means Luffy would have had said, I need help, food, I'm hungry. Right? Because we have essentially the scene where Luffy does something, and then we have a scene where Frankie saves Luffy. Right? So Luffy is saved by Frankie. And then after that, mind you, Saturn is right there. I'm thinking Kizaru moved him, but no. If you want to argue that Kizaru moved him, right? No, it was more that if Kizaru did it, that means he would have brought the food to Luffy, right? But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh, but how would Kizaru know that Luffy wants food in order to recharge? Then the other thing is why is it that he doesn't just stay down, right? So if he's conflicted, he could have easily just said mind you, even this guy says it, Saturn says it. He's like, that he's sluggish, and he says something along Saturn says something along the lines to Kizaru like, oh, you're sluggish, but I completely understand why. It's because of Nika, and he tries to step on Luffy. Frankie saves him, right? So he had an alibi. He could have stayed down the entire time, but he gets up and he ends up being the one who kills Vegapunk in the end. So I find it very weird because it's like, it could have been Kizaru until he decided to kill Vegapunk. At that point, then I'm like, damn. And then he tells Akainu hey, he yells at Akainu, you really think I wasn't giving him my all? Something along those lines. Right, so he gives him a very passionate spiel about, how hard it was to do what he did. Right? But at the end of the day, we still have Luffy eating food here, recharging, and now Luffy's able to go back into Gear 5. He turns them both into pancakes. Kizaru kills Vegapunk, and we get essentially the other four Gorosei enter in. Excuse me. So I just find it weird, right? Because after Luffy turns him into a pancake, Kizaru's done. Right? He's essentially done. He doesn't want to fight no more. He's out of it. So right now, my stance on this is that I'm going to leave it until Luffy decides to tell us that it was Kizaru that saved him. If he never says this, I will never be truly sure. Because if you have the author saying things that are like this, where it's like it was done at the speed of light, well, Luffy can also move at the speed of light. It's not as consistently, but he can fight at the speed of light. Who's not to say that Luffy can then reach out, grab food? Mind you, Luffy knows where the food machine is. And we've seen Luffy literally stretch far enough to stretch when he did the bazooka on Wapple in the island where Chopper used to live. I forget what it's called. Right, so we have Luffy literally extend his arms past the island. Right, we've seen Luffy do this before. Luffy can stretch farther now than he ever could before. Who's not to say that Luffy couldn't stretch at the speed of light, grab food, and bring it to himself? Mind you, while he's eating, literally look at it. While he's eating McDonald's. He's got a Big Mac. He's got, you know, some Wagyu beef. He's got some roast ham, right, from the finest pigs, right, so the finest boars. So who's not to say the man got delivered McDonald's by Kizaru, right? Who's to say you don't really know if Kizaru is a McDonald's worker or not? You really don't know, because at the end of the day, Luffy can move at the speed of light. There's just no way Kizaru would know that Luffy loves meat and would want food in this situation. I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. I'm out. Deuces. Goodbye.